He never appeared publicly in his wheelchair. He only used it privately at his home at Campobello or at his retreat in Warm Springs in Georgia. Only 2 photos of him in a wheelchair exist, and neither photo was released publicly until after his death. Roosevelt had intended the 1941 Atlantic Charter to be the end of European colonialism, which was a huge political difference from Winston Churchill, who was fiercely supportive of the British Empire. Franklin and his cousin Theodore Roosevelt both served as Assistant Secretary of the Navy and Governor of New York and were vice presidential candidates before becoming president. He died after posing for a portrait. In the middle of the session got up and left, complaining of a pain in his head. His last words were, "I have a terrific headache." He contracted polio in 1921 and lost the ability to walk without help. He wore heavy leg braces, and when he appeared in public standing on his feet he was usually supported by someone. Usually his son. On April 30, 1939, he appeared on an experimental television station called WX2AB in New York City, where he was officiating over the opening of the 1939 New York World's Fair. This made him the first U.S. president to appear on television. When he was 5, his family visited the White House and met then-President Grover Cleveland. President Cleveland put his hand on Franklin's head and said, "My little man, I am making a strange wish for you. It is that you may never be President of the United States." Franklin D. Roosevelt was the 6th president to die in office. All of the presidents that have died in office were elected 20 years apart: William Henry Harrison in 1840. Abraham Lincoln in 1860, James Garfield in 1880, William McKinley in 1900, Warren G. Harding in 1920, Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1940 and John F. Kennedy in 1960. In the end, it was Ronald Reagan who broke the curse and survived.